Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to enter requisition using document level accounting. Okay, I'm going to screen FPAREQN. You can type in next and click go, or you can just leave it blank and go. It doesn't matter, it's the same thing. Okay, let's assume that I want my requisition or PO to be delivered by 11th. I'm going to pick that. Now here's a little check mark. Right now it's checked, so that means we're doing document level accounting. But if you uncheck it, now that becomes commodity level accounting. So there's a difference between document level accounting and commodity level accounting. So if you are entering a fixed asset, let's say computer equipment or a new TV or some sort of fixed asset, it's required that you enter commodity level accounting on the requisition. So it becomes easier to track the fixed asset, and every single other requisition can be actually processed using document level accounting. So that's the main difference. Okay, so I'm going to click next block. And I'm not a TSU employee, so that's why my information is not being populated here, my email address, phone number, etc. But if you are an employee, it should all auto-populate. So I'm going to manually enter a couple of information here. So I'm going to enter my org, which is OIT, and my email address, ggcup@tsu.edu, but I'm going to leave everything else blank. Here, ship to address is required. If you know the code right away, you can enter it, but if you don't know, you can click this ellipsis button for search option. I'm going to click that, and let's say I want to ship to be shipped to warehouse. So I'm going just to type warehouse. I'm going to click this one, and street address, zip code, even the phone number is automatically populated. Okay, so I'm going to the next block. Here you would enter your vendor information. If you already know the vendor code, you can type it in, but if you don't, you can also use the search option. I'm going to click search, put entity name. Here you would, I'm going to pick last name. Usually, if it's a person, obviously last and first name is there, but if it's a corporation or let's say Home Depot or Office Depot, then it's always the last name. So I'm going to click Office. I'm going to type in Office Depot. Hopefully this vendor is already established in Banner. I'm going to click go. Okay, perfect. So Office Depot does exist, and it looks like every single other IDs are terminated, but there is one active, so I'm going to pick that one. I'm going to click select. Okay. My information for the vendors, the address is automatically populated, but let's say this is not the address you got the requisition, quote from. So if you want to go through to see if there's other address information in Banner, you can click this, search. And here there are 3 different addresses. The first one's in LA, the second one is in Houston, the third one is in Santa Ana. So let's just say I want to pick the third one because that address is actually on my quote. So I'm going to select. Okay, and just a side note, if you do not see the address in Banner, even though you went through all different options for the addresses, then I think you have to contact purchasing so that they can enter that new address for this vendor in Banner before you can use it. Okay, now every single information is filled out. I'm going to next block. Here I would enter my commodity and accounting information. If you know your commodity code, you would also type it in, but if you don't, you can search for it. For test purposes, I'm just going to make up one test. And let's say I want a box of item, one, and each unit price is $100. And here, if I click tab, you can see that my commodity total is $100, and all that information. Right now, there is no text is entered. Item text and commodity text both are empty. But let's say I want to enter a commodity. Actually, let's say I want to do item text. Either way, you can click related here on the top right-hand corner. And I'm going to do item text. Click go. And here you would type in the message. This is for test purposes. And if you need, I believe this line only accommodates so many characters. Let's say you ran out of space, you can click insert. Okay, I think in test instance there's a default, some error on that. But you can click down arrow on your keyboard. There you go. So now you have new line. This is the second line. So just enter, insert as many lines as you need to. Okay, and I'm going to click save. Get out of here. Now that my item text is in, you see this check mark. All right, so now let's go through the funding information. Here you would enter your full pool. Let's say my item is being charged to Fund 1, org 31200, account 7300 and 20. Well, default is actually, it's going to, when you click tab, hit tab and tab on your keyboard, the default is it's usually like the whole $100 will be charged to the full pool entered. But if you want it to be 50-50 to two different full pools, so you can either enter the amount, just let's say $50, let's say $70, or you can actually enter a percentage. So right now this is, because this a little box is checked, it's doing 70% of it going here. You tap through it, go here. Okay, $70. I want to enter my second funding information. I clicked down arrow on my keyboard, click tab. Let's say my second funding is 247. And let's say every single information is the same, with an exception of fund. I go back here, and I'll do $30. Okay, so, okay, 30, 70, and 30. There you go. So now that totals to 100. I had to check my math. Okay, now I go to my next block. Here, this is where you look at the balancing, make sure everything balances. Here, $100 inputted, commodities for $100, accounting is $100, so everything is balanced. In production or live instance, if you have non-sufficient funding, I don't think you can complete the requisition, so you have to do budget transfer before you can complete. In that case, you can just leave it in process and jot down your requisition number. And after you're done with your budget transfer, you can just come back to the same screen, FPAREQN. Instead of typing next, you would put in your requisition number and just go back to it and complete. For test purpose, doesn't matter, I'm just going to click complete. There you go. This is how you enter a requisition using document level accounting.